Hey, and we're live. We're a little bit late. Technical hitches. That's something that comes up every once in a while, but all is well. So anyone watching who doesn't know what we're doing here, basically I'm just interviewing all of the amazing ladies that are going to be part of this online summit that starts on Monday. God, I don't know where the time's gone now. Where has it gone? We're on lockdown, but thank goodness this has given me a focus. I've been very busy.
I bet you have.
More, but it's all these amazing women are all going to be there, and it's all, the summit is about you. It's not about what we do. Everybody's going to be giving you tips, tools, trainings, workshops. If you are struggling, I mean, not everybody's struggling, everybody's in different places, and there might be just something that you hear that you go, right, that's what I've been doing. So right, change. So if we can make one change and make one person feel better, then it's been a huge success, right?
Absolutely. So, definitely.
I'll do it like that. This is unnatural. I'm going away from myself. This is Rebecca, share with everybody who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Rebecca Kemp, and I'm a hypnotherapist now, after spending just over 20 years in the corporate world, retrained as a hypnotherapist. And how amazing that is.
So, okay, 20 years in corporate world, doing what?
So I worked for a bank, and it was during some leadership roles that I was fortunate enough to be sent on some brilliant courses all about how to influence people, and there was a lot of NLP involved in those courses as well. So I took that back to the workplace, thought, oh my goodness, this stuff really works and it's super powerful, and my goodness, how quickly you can evoke a change in someone's behavior because you're going back to what their beliefs are and what their values are. So, for example, in a bank, you'd be perhaps looking at, all your cashiers thinking, well, if they could find some opportunities to upsell some products, that'd be great. But you talk to a lot of the cashiers and they'd be like, I've been in the bank 30 years. I didn't join the bank to sell. And you go, okay, I understand that. And when you get underneath it, you realise that their interpretation of selling is a bit like a double glazing kind of a cold, a hardcore sell. And
totally.
Why did you join the bank? What is important to you about your job? What do you love? And you realise actually it's about giving great customer service to Mrs. Jones, who comes in every Thursday, or Mr. Smith, who's in every Monday. And then you get underneath that and you say, well, actually, if you knew you could save Mrs. Jones £100 a month on her mortgage, would that be great customer service? And okay, so how could you do that without sounding very salesy? How could you be a bit more softer, recommend it, let them find the words? And my goodness, these people would go out there and they'd be helping all these customers, getting job satisfaction from knowing they're making a difference. And that for me was a bit of a trigger point, and that got me into psychology, and went into NLP a bit more, did my diploma. And then I had the opportunity to retrain, and I thought, gosh, hypnotherapy again sounds like a really quick way of making a lasting difference. So that for me was what got me into it.
Brilliant, absolutely, and I can totally relate to that. I mean, I have to say, I wish I knew now. I wish I knew back then what I know now, because when I was in the fitness industry, I just wanted to do my thing. I didn't want to sell, but what so many, and I think this is going to be important for all the people that are going to be watching on the summit, if they're in business, they need to get over the fact that they're in sales. We're all in sales. If I want to get my daughter to clean her room, there's a sales transition going on. There's something going on, and you're so right. I definitely had this image of I hated sales. I didn't want to talk money. I wanted to teach and coach, but I didn't want to talk money. I had that block. And because I had, just as you just said, that image of and I'm not putting down any second class salespeople, but the stereotype of a second class salesperson, right?
Yeah, and it's the meaning you give that word sales, isn't it? I think, because we all have these connotations. And actually, if you take that as an example and you apply that to hypnotherapy, again, that's just, that's kind of the psychology behind it, isn't it? It's the meaning we're giving certain things. So the meaning somebody gives a spider, the meaning someone gives height, the meaning someone gives, weight loss or anxiety. It's all the things that we're giving meaning to. And actually, when you can change that meaning, then you change the response you're getting from that situation.
Absolutely. Brilliant. And the beauty with what you do is that, again, I don't want this word to sound bad. It's like cheating. It's going the quick way. Not in a bad way, in a good way.
Right.
You know, it's a shortcut way, right? Because you want to go in under and make the changes happen. What is your best, what would you say is the biggest sort of change you've ever seen in any of your clients, or how quickly that's happened?
There've been so many. So I'll give you one example. I saw a lady for phobias. She had a phobia of pigeons, actually, and we got underneath what it was. It was the colour around the neck, it was the eyes, and a particularly unpleasant incident that occurred when she lived in Croydon and got trapped in a bus shelter with one that was very flappy.
Wow!
That was one session.
Wow.
And I did another session with a lady about cravings, came to see me, just couldn't stop eating the contents of her fridge. And actually, I should probably get back in touch with her to make sure it's still lasting now. But again, I said, just give me a ring. Let me know if you need any more sessions. She said, I can't believe it. She said, a packet of 4 Whispers fell out the fridge. And I thought, no, I don't really fancy them. I might actually do want a couple of strawberries. And, so sometimes it can be one session. I saw a gentleman at the end of last year who came to see me about his anxiety. And we got underneath it and we realised it was actually to do with some insecurity that he had. And actually, this is where different therapists can work in harmony, because he'd been to counselling for a couple of years, sort of on and off. And it's not to say that counselling wasn't any good, because he knew rationally all this stuff. So some of my hard work had been done for me. So he knew rationally he wasn't going to lose his job. He every day he'd go to work, think, I'm going to lose my job, I'm going to lose my job. But he knew consciously he wouldn't, because every year he's getting great appraisals. And he knew from some of the stuff he'd had through counselling, looking at the CBT way of looking at things and challenging the thought patterns he was having, that probably wasn't going to happen. But still, he had that feeling. So I guess all hypnotherapy did is it like downloaded the software.
Yes, but that's how I see it. We can all sometimes. I feel like, for my perception, I feel like sometimes step 1 is the awareness of the problem. So that's step 1. And then step 2 is, well, now deal with it. And sometimes you can't do it. If I could do all the things that I consciously know are good for me, I wouldn't have any issues. Yeah. But sometimes, and especially, I don't know whether you found this, since lockdown, because there are everybody, in a different set of circumstances, but could have different triggers of stress, boredom, anxiety, that just because you're consciously aware, it's not solving the problem. So for them, maybe having hypnotherapy to actually go underneath, get into your subconscious, make that change, huge changes can be made, right?
Absolutely, because as I'll talk about in my talk, that is where all our power is. It's in our subconscious. And if we think about, our brains aren't designed to make us happy. They're designed to keep us alive, and they're designed to keep the human race going. So when we understand that and we go, that's why my brain does that. That's why and we can understand why those triggers are. A lot of them would be universal across the whole population. But then on top of that, you layer that we've all had a different journey in life, and there are different things that will cause us to trigger. That's when you're absolutely right. You can get underneath that issue, get underneath the symptoms. So, for example, a lady I was seeing on Skype actually just a few weeks ago when we just started lockdown, she had some weight loss issues. So again, consciously, she really wants to lose weight, and that's great. And she's been on diets on the past and managed to lose weight, put it on. When we get underneath it, we realise that actually she's got a cesarean scar that when she loses weight becomes very obvious. And her husband, kind of in a jokey way, her husband sort of says to her, "Oh, you want to get that cut out." So she knows he's joking, but also her subconscious is like, it's attractive. Yeah, and it's important we feel attractive for our self-esteem and all those other things, but also our prehistoric brain wants us to procreate. So inside, underneath this, I want to lose weight, I want to look better in my clothes and feel better. There's part of her that wants to hang on to that weight, something we call a secondary gain that's more important than wanting to lose weight. Once we tackle that, then she's easy.
Isn't it funny? I mean, it is. It's funny that all of you, although everybody's in totally different arenas, maybe have a slightly different path, but it's all based on the same thing. It's what is going on up here, how our minds are, and the difference between our conscious and our subconscious. I mean, it infuriates me in a way, because I think, well, we should be, if we learned this at school, imagine what people could achieve, I believe, if we actually got this right, when our alignment is right, and what we want is in alignment with what's going on in our subconscious. Imagine what people could do, and all this. I mean, what would you say to people? If you do turn on the telly. I mean, I have to say, I started out in the lockdown feeling sorry for myself and watching it, and now it doesn't even go on. What would you say to people who are turning on the telly, listening to all this constant negative fear, or scrolling through Facebook and getting involved in conversations where it is just, scare tactics? What would you say to them to help them?
I would say that, just as you have to feed your body good stuff, you have to feed your mind good stuff as well. And, never take for granted all these subliminal messages that are going inside of you. Our subconscious remembers everything we've ever heard and seen, and you get to choose now as an adult what goes in there. So my advice would be to limit yourself. Yes, we need to be aware of what's going on, but I would just say limit what you're following, limit the kind of things that you're watching, and make sure you give yourself a balanced diet. I would say get some good stuff in there, whether it's reading some good quotes or following some inspirational people on Instagram or something, people who help to, lift your spirit and raise your vibration, and just, do what you can to feel good. Because I'm no nutritional expert, and you'll know more about this, Karen, and some of the other ladies on there will know more about the physical benefits. But actually, they're, to have stress and anxiety in your body is not going to do you any good, either emotionally or physically. So get yourself in that great space emotionally. You're doing your body the best, service you can to fight off any disease, whether that's COVID or anything else, really. Just that there's no downside to feeding your mind with good stuff and positivity.
Totally agree. Cortisol is the stress hormone. Stress is not good. Well, obviously there was a reason for it millions of years ago, saber-toothed tiger, but there isn't a saber-toothed tiger. And even COVID-19, as terrible as it is, any illness and disease where people are dying is terrible. However, we've got to try and put things into perspective. And even that, if that's going to cause us to feel stressful, that's more negative to us, because it reduces your immune system goes down when there's stress, or when there's, a consistent amount of stress. So yeah, I totally agree. You have to feed yourself the right nutrients to stay healthy on a physical, and you're all about the mind. And I really believe that there's no difference. We've got to find a way of having healthy stuff in our mind, watching good stuff. You're right, motivational stuff, and keeping that, because it's all linked. Just because you're working on the mind and one of the other clients is doing the training or to do with it, it's all the same.
So that holistic approach, isn't it, to the
whole
body? And that reminds me, there's a saying, isn't there, about two men in prison, one saw stars and one saw mud. So always look up. So we might all be in this prison, just this season in our lives. We can choose to look up and see the stars. We can choose to look down and see the mud. We're all in it together, and we know it's not going to last. So it's, how can we reframe some of this stuff, as we started off saying earlier on? How can we reframe the meaning of sales? How can we reframe the meaning of lockdown? And you started off the interview by saying some people are feeling anxious, and everybody's different. I've had people reach out to me who are feeling anxious, and and I'm doing the best I can to try and help them manage that. But also people who are seeing this as an opportunity, thinking, I'm not working that much anymore. I've got a bit more time in my hands. How can I be the best version of myself? So once lockdown ends and I'm out there, seeing it as a bit like they're a chrysalis, I guess, really. They're in this chrysalis. How can they make the best of themselves when the doors are flung open? We can go back out there and, start engaging a bit more of a normal life. How can I look my best? How can I feel my best? And, people are reaching out to the likes of me and some of the other ladies on this summit to do that. And I think that's great. And everybody's all different, but whatever helps you to get through this, whether it's self-improvement, whether it's, I just need some help to just help me get out of bed and not just sit in my pajamas and eat donuts all day. We're all different, and it's not about, but whatever help you need, there's definitely something in this summit, and definitely a lady who can help you and inspire you and motivate you to, you know, either cope in or take it to the next level and get to that level of self-improvement.
That's it. Well, that's the goal. So share with everybody what you will be doing on the summit.
So I'll be talking a little bit about, you know, the history of hypnotherapy. I think, you know, dispelling a few myths as well, as I know one of the other ladies was saying, who does the rapid transformation technique, that, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about what hypnotherapy is, that it's a weird and mysterious thing. And, you know, and I had a lot of misconceptions before I started studying it. And when I learned it, I was like, is that it? You know, really, it takes away all the mystique. And actually, that's the excitement, that it's something so powerful and so natural, and yet produces these amazing results, as I said earlier on, sometimes in just one session. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the myths and the misconceptions and the fears that people have about you making them cluck like a chicken or taking control of their mind.
Yeah, that is quite often what people think, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So that's it. I like it. Dispel the myths. Dispel the myths. So what is one thing I wanted to ask you? Because I know when we first started, I got confused with what you did, and I thought you did EFT, emotional freedom technique, but you do TFT. Can you explain to people what that is?
Yeah, it's very similar. It's thought-field therapy, originated by a guy called Dr. Roger Callahan, if you want to give him a Google. Fascinating stuff. And basically, it's to do with different acupressure points on our body that are related to different emotions. And you tap in different parts of the body, depending on the emotion that you've got. You can also use the tapping to help control cravings and things like that. So anxiety, there's a certain routine we do for that. And I'll be going through a very quick routine on the summit as well, so people can actually get involved and just tap it.
Oh,
and just
brilliant.
think, is this making a difference for me?
That's perfect. So people will get to experience it rather than just hear about it. There's a big difference, right?
Absolutely. And again, it's something that, the reason I love it, I seem to be a bit of a theme here, it's so simple and yet so effective, even after just one go. I think from anxiety perspective, it tends to help about 98% of people. So it's pretty good here. And there's no negative effects from it. You can be on medication, not on medication, no matter what your background is. It basically just helps to balance all your hormones and your chemicals and your breathing. It has to do everything quite naturally. So then you're in a more balanced position. Brilliant.
I mean, there are just and well, you said right there, simple. Throughout my life, you know what I have found is it's always the simple things that work. We overcomplicate things. I'm terrible for that, I have to say.
You're not the only one, Karen.
I overcomplicate everything, and then sort of in hindsight, you look back and think, keep it simple. There's a reason. That is a saying, isn't it? Absolutely. It's always just simple. But as I said to, I think I was saying to the other day, that, you know, all this stuff that everybody is teaching everyone, there is a common theme, that it is simple. These things are not hard to do, but the thing is that anything that's easy to do is just as easy not to do. So it's on the doing it.
Absolutely.
And that, I think that's going to be brilliant for you to be able to, because, you know, somebody can hear about, oh, you know, I've heard about TFT, but maybe they don't take that step to go and book a session because they don't really know anything about it, don't really have an understanding. So what I think what is brilliant with what you're doing is you're giving people an opportunity to try it in the safety of their own home. Obviously, it's going to be generic. And obviously, you know, you're going to work individually with a person. I really feel that the key is, even though I didn't want to do an online summit in the beginning, it was only through lockdown, I wanted to do live. But the positive coming out of this is that there may be people that wouldn't have felt comfortable trying it in a live setting around people. They can do it in the safety of their own home.
Very true.
In the privacy of their own home. Nobody's watching, and they can just go along with you and experience. And if they feel better, they might think, oh, well, you know, maybe she can help me with this. Maybe you can help me with that. So I think that is so much more powerful than, like us talking here, trying to explain what it is you do and how you can help people. I think that's the beauty of this. A lot of the presentations are not just going to be, you're not being just talked at, or taught things. It'll be sort of live workshops in a way where you can actually experience, what does that feel like, or how does that help me? Because that's what everybody is thinking, right? Is what's in it for them. And this summit is definitely for you guys out there. It's to if you get some benefit from one of the workshops, then absolutely fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I'll be doing it as well.
Great, good.
I'm very little tapping. I have all these. I think I want to go with everybody.
Yeah, why not?
All these different tips and tools. So absolutely awesome. This is. I should have clicked on this earlier. This is Rebecca's website, but if you haven't got your ticket, the link up there will take you to Rebecca's speaker profile to find out more about her, all her social media platforms. You can email her, and obviously a link to her website will be there too. And if you haven't actually got a ticket through Eventbrite, you can get your ticket there. It's free. And it starts on Monday. So yes, getting excited. Thank you very much for your time, Rebecca.
Thank you, Karen, for yours. Lovely to see you.
No problem. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.